Self-care is a form of self-love. Hello, hello, my self-care enthusiast. I'm so pumped to chat with you today. Um, Obviously, the podcast episode is all about self-care. And although this is going to be a quick and shorty episode, I just want to make sure that, again, you're understanding how important it is for your overall well being, your mental health, just all the things. It's more than just buzzwords, it's more than just a trendy topic. I want you to shower yourself with kindness and protection. So, with that being said, what's the deal with self love and self care, right? Like, we think of it as like, kind of giving yourself a warm hug, but on the inside. It's essentially a way for you to look out for yourself, right? And your well being and saying, like, hey, to yourself, hey, I got you. Or if you're someone who's like, hey, I got us, like, we're good, like, you're good, we're fine. Whatever it is, whatever makes you feel like, oh, yes, I feel great. I'm taking care of myself. Like, yes, I did that. Like, okay, this is something that I want you to tap into because that is where you are going to get, in my opinion, the like all the benefits and just the amazingness that comes from practicing self care. It's almost like when you are operating at a higher frequency. Have you ever felt that way before where you're like doing something and then all of a sudden you look up and it's like hours have gone by, or you feel significantly refreshed or energized after a conversation with a friend? Like, that's what I'm referring to. So, whatever the form of self care is, if it's making you feel so relaxed and at peace and calm with yourself and your thoughts, and that's what motivates you to do it on a consistent basis, then go towards that. Go with that. And if it's something where you're like, no, I need to get hyped up, I need to sweat, I need to burn energy, whatever that may be, go towards that. But finding something that you can not only do on a consistent basis, why? Because it'll be sustainable for you, but also something that you actually enjoy. I know it seems like, duh, Charlize, of course, I would want to do something that I enjoy, and it's like a no brainer. But you would be surprised how many people do not think about it, about doing something that they actually enjoy. Like, do not think about that aspect of things. Like, actually doing something that, hey, I actually enjoy this thing. I actually enjoy doing fill in the blank. And the reason is because they're looking at it as more of like a chore or something that they quote know they need to do and should do, and kind of don't prioritize or put it on the back burner. And what I would say to that is, let's be smart, because like I mentioned, you need to do it. And yeah, while you need to do that thing, whatever that form of self-care is for you, making it easy as possible, as much as you can for yourself, is going to eliminate some of that friction that is in the way and prevent you from doing it either at all or on a consistent basis. I just want you to just start. Like, I can't stress that enough. So making sure that you're just starting. Just start trying random things and see what sticks, and see what you gravitate toward and what really lights you up and gets a fire up under you or makes you feel just better about yourself and about how you're feeling overall, whether it's for your mind, your body, or your soul. But just starting, just starting is the first step. The other thing I want to talk about when it comes to self care is boundaries. I know you've heard about boundaries. However, setting boundaries is more of like, almost in a way of like, when you draw a line in the sand, it's like, it's kind of like that. So I know that you know what they are, but I always like to kind of give examples, at least how I'm thinking about it, so you understand where I'm coming from, especially if I am speaking more on something, or have a strong position on something that I'm talking about, or I'm just trying to encourage you to consider that thing more, whatever it may be. I always want you to know where I'm coming from, because that's really important. Because what might be, something to me, like I could say, being kind is important, but what is being kind? What's being kind to me? Like what I consider kindness could be different. It could not be necessarily the same thing that you think. It could be something else. So just again, always providing that context for you is important for me, to make sure that I am giving you that a little bit of that background of just why am I saying what I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. But essentially, going back to boundaries, because I know I just went off on a tangent. Boundaries, they are the rules for your life, right? So it's like you get to decide, you get to decide, you get to decide, you get to decide what kind of rules you want in place for your life. So, what is cool with you and what is not? And the more you start to ask yourself questions, the more you start to look at decisions that you're making through that lens, right? Then that is going to help you have boundaries in place for yourself. And let me tell you what those boundaries are going to do. They're going to give you the power back. They're going to give you possibly your time back. It's going to give you that sense of peace that you didn't know you needed. And for the folks that are like, no, I know I have terrible boundaries, I just like don't know how to work on them, then I encourage you to get the book, because I always have a book for a recommendation, because hello, I love to read. But I always have a book, and if you pick up the book Set Boundaries, Find Peace, and the author is by Nedra, Nedra. If you pick up that book, she's a therapist. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. If you pick up that book, you read the entire book, and you have not learned not one thing from boundaries, I would be surprised. And I'll just leave that there. Please get that book if you are struggling essentially with honestly anything in your life that I guarantee you is probably in some way, shape, or form, more likely than not, related to boundaries. So, Set Boundaries, Find Peace is the book. I think her name is Nedra Tawwab, something like that. It's like a hyphen last name, but I know her first name is Nedra. So grab that book if you're interested in learning more about boundaries, how to set them, what they are, and just why you need them, etc. Self-care, again, is a form of self-love. I will say it again. Self-care is a form of self-love. When you're practicing self-care, you are telling yourself you love you. That is important, because we have thousands of thoughts a day. And with all of the thoughts that we're thinking, we need to make sure that we are thinking you are worthy, you are loved, you are valued, you matter, you need to take time, you need to take a break, you do not need to earn a break, you do not need to earn rest. All of these things are things that more likely than not, you probably could do better in this area when it comes to what you're thinking and how you talk to yourself. I believe we can all do better in that particular area. And that is why it's so important that you make sure you are practicing self care every single day. Being kind to yourself, being kind to yourself in the way that you talk to yourself, those things are going to make so much of a difference. You have no idea. That inner critic needs to take a vacation. Like they just need to go. Like they need to take a vacation. Maybe they need to just like get the boot. I don't know, but like that inner critic, we need to silence her, because you deserve to live your life in peace. I really believe that. And now, what might be peaceful for me may not be peaceful for you, regardless. You deserve to live your life in peace. And so, this is why you need to tell your inner critic to take a hike. I just don't know any other way to say it other than like tell that inner critic to just to bounce. You're not welcome anymore. Like you taught me some things, but it's gotta go. But making sure that you are forgiving yourself, being kind to yourself, learning and growing it really is the way of life. And if you're someone who agrees with that, then you're my people, for one. But also, you and I have a similar mindset. So, hey, it's wonderful. And if you're not someone who agrees with that, then totally fine. I just would like to know why. Let's open this up because I really want to have a conversation with you. I personally believe self growth is a way of life, always evolving, always learning, personal development. I'm always trying to operate at the highest level as much as I can. So, and I want to be clear about when I say that. When I say that, I mean if I have, like, for example, 25% energy to give, and that's all I got for the day, but that's all I was able to give, and I gave 25% out of 25%, then I'm 100. I killed that day, okay? Like, I killed that. All right? You're not always going to have 100%. It's just unrealistic. So let's stop setting ourselves up for failure and set ourselves up for success and be realistic about the expectations and what you're actually able to give to yourself and to others. And the sooner and you do that, the more that you do that, I think you will open up a window of peace for yourself. That window will soon become a door, and you'll start to see the benefits of how putting in a daily practice of self-care is a form of self-love, is you're doing something for yourself every single day that's letting your mind, body, and or soul know, I am important, I matter, I'm valued, I'm loved, I need rest, I deserve rest, and all of these other things that we know logically, but sometimes we struggle with not only accepting it, but actually putting it into practice every single day, even if it's not every day, just at all. Like, let's just, again, going back to my former point, just start, just start, just start. I promise you will not be sorry. It will definitely be an adjustment in the beginning, but I think you're worth it. And if I think you're worth it, I think you should think that you're worth it. No? So, what do you think? This was literally the most random tangent, but I had to just share this with you because as I was thinking about the previous episode on the podcast, this just gave me more things to talk about because I think I just feel so passionate about it. And I want to make sure that you're essentially very radical with your self-care, but I want to make sure that you're actually practical in how you approach it because let's be honest, we're all busy, we're all tired, the days go by fast, and we have lives to live. So making sure that it's sustainable and hopefully easy and or free or not as expensive, all of those things are going to play a role into whatever you do for self-care, and that's going to eliminate the friction that you experience from not doing anything to doing something. So, hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Alrighty, well, that is it. Time flies when you're having fun, right? I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Moment Podcast. Remember, I'm always sending sunshine your way.